The team tries to track Dr. Hemlock. Tech makes a fateful choice. Omega learns a dark secret and more as the Sky Guys are back to recap the Season 2 finale of The Bad Batch.
All right, we are back here on the Sky Guys, finishing up the second season of The Bad Batch. And boy, this show went out with a doozy after some ups and downs over the course of the season. One of your hosts, Mike Phillips. Joining me today, the man who's voicing here every single week on the podcast and narration, Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
Doing well. Still need to get this webcam fixed when I do it for my tablet, so I apologize that you guys can't see me. However, like you said, Season 2 really ending strongly. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Absolutely. Here also with us today, fresh from Moff Tarkin Summit on Ariadu, Nick Fraietta is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. Although I enjoyed it, I'm very happy that it's over. It was a lot. It was a lot to do with the watching and doing double episodes because they come out on the same day as The Mandalorian. So now we don't have to do that anymore. So although I enjoyed the episode very much, I am happy that we do not have to watch more than one episode in a day anymore.
I will also put this out here to Disney Plus, and I know you guys are probably, if it's not for for long, not listen to this podcast. So let's say, guys, like, please don't do this again. Please don't double up the shows. It makes it hard to enjoy them both when we're trying to cram both of them into one day.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about the weeks that we're not gonna. I'm sure at some point throughout this year, we're not gonna have stuff to watch, and we could have had something to watch if they just weren't at the same time.
Yeah, we could have a whole summer of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right, here. So, Pete, I would imagine you want to subscribe to the Sky Guys podcast. Do so on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys here podcast, platform episodes there. Well, the Bad Batch content is coming to mostly an end. We're going to have a follow-up show in a few weeks to sort of catch up on the season here. They can subscribe for all the off-season stuff we're going to have and early access to the Mando episodes.
Yeah, early access, off-season content. You don't want to miss it, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already.
Absolutely. Also, leave your feedback and star ratings. It helps us make the podcast even better going forward. And Nick, you want to follow us on the social media streets? How can they do that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. I had to switch my mic around a little bit. Hopefully, it should sound better than it did before. But if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Sky Guys Podcast. That's both on Instagram and on Twitter.
Yep. You can also check out the YouTube page, Mike Phillips on YouTube. Video version of the conversations of the podcast are here. We did not get him in Season 2. Maybe Season 3 will get Darth, but I do think we could see him soon.
I forget that he could be in the show. When I watch the show, I think of it as like he can't be there. I always forget that he can be.
Yeah, it's a choice they made not to bring him in over 32 episodes so far.
I think we'll see him.
I mean, the Rebels at this point, he'd appeared several times already.
I think we'll see him. And spoiler alert, there's almost definitely going to be a Season 3. And if there's not, it's for a very, very bad reason in Disney's part.
Yeah, for sure. And let's get into this finale here. Two-parter here of the Summit and Plan 99. Very good stuff. But I want to throw this question out to both of you guys. Where has this show been the rest of the season here? We got all the good stuff in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's nothing.
This could have been a mid-season thing. We could have fleshed this out for the last, 6 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, we had so much good stuff in this finale of the 2 parts, and you can throw last week in here too. I mean, we could have either made this a much leaner 10-episode season, got rid of the stupid treasure hunting episodes, or like cutting down 1 episode of them getting stuck on that planet and losing the ship, or like you said, get rid of the filler and just stretch this stuff out a little bit and get us more content instead of jamming it all into about 55 minutes.
Absolutely. You have how many fillers do you think we had? Like, I don't know if you have the list on the top of your head or like the ratings that we gave it, but
I will tell you, I have the list up here. There were a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes. 5 were below, plus 2 more that were under 6.
So we're looking at roughly half the season that we could have done without.
Yeah.
But you know what? Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, when you compare this to like Clone Wars and maybe some, especially like earlier seasons there, if you're at 50%, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's about like, I see this is kind of roughly the Clone Wars Season 2 parallel, where you had some good stuff, you still have stuff you're scratching your head at, like wondering what the hell we're doing here, Pete.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit better off than we were probably season 2 of Clone Wars, but I have to say it really the proof is going to be in the pudding for season 3. I think if they set up this huge cliffhanger and then do what they did this season where half of it is just, let's just call it BS missions, we'll kind of tell where their heads at.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get to this episode here. So obviously we start off here. Nick, we pick up where we left off last week, where the team is on Abu and they're trying to have a plan to track Dr. Hemlock to rescue Crosshair. So what do you think about what we got here from Hemlock from this initial plan? We're gonna put a tracker on this thing. We're gonna raid the summit because Hemlock's a ghost. We can't find him otherwise. And then we'll put a tracker on his ship, we'll follow him back, we'll get Crosshair, and boom, we're gone.
The good plan. A good plan, and right away you could tell about the seriousness of the episode. I've mentioned this countless times before on this show, but you could tell right away it's going to be a good one, and it did not fail to deliver.
Yeah, and P also pointed out here that the scene where Fee Genoa says goodbye to Tech at the beginning of the episode, like now looking back, having watched both parts of it, huge sort of spoiler there that like Tech was not going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you watch the first part of this finale, it's not really taken as that. It's almost taken like, it's just Tech. He's not saying goodbye to anyone. But yeah, huge foreshadowing there. And good by the writers for that as well.
Yeah, Nick, he's disappointed that as of right now, does not look like we're going to see the continuation of the Fee Genoa and Tech romance.
I'm okay with it. I think that this show experimented with, they clearly listened to our podcast because we always said either no Echo or no Tech, and they tried no Echo and didn't really get much better. So now they're going no Tech.
It's a shame because Tech was probably the best character of the season.
Yeah, I think he was. Right? I mean, we'll call up the MVP list later, and he might have been number 1.
Yeah, he was number 1 going into the finale. We'll cover that in a bit here, but we do see that they have this plan. They go and infiltrate the Tarkin compound here. Having a summit of key Imperial officers here. And Pete, were you surprised that we got to see our old friend Krennic here at the summit?
A little bit, yeah. I was definitely a little bit surprised. I wasn't expecting him to make an appearance.
And Nick, too bad I can't retroactively count this for the Andor draft and win that draft.
Yeah, right. They like how when they called on him, they said Project Stardust. That's from Rogue One. That's the name of the project, what the plans were. And then you can hear, if you listen closely, some Rogue One music playing after that scene. Really nice touch.
It was a good touch, and it was great. Great they got Ben Mendelsohn back to actually do the voice of that character too, and then have.
I didn't know they did.
They did get him back for his.
That's great because he's a big actor too. That's not.
It's not an easy pull.
Yeah, it's not an easy pull, especially hey, can you work? I don't know how they do voice acting. You probably need to go to the studio, right?
Yeah, maybe now in the age of mobile stuff, maybe they sent him a fancy mic and stuff to his house and say, "Hey, can you record this?"
Yeah, but you imagine you're calling this big time actors on a lot of shows, and you say, "We just need you to say 2 sentences."
Yeah, for our entire season.
And here's probably $10,000 or more.
Yeah, got a big bump for that here. And Pete, we also find out here that we hear from Hemlock what his plans are for the clones. He's going to use them as experiments to work on this cloning project that the Emperor is highly prioritized here. And then we get some of what Nick remembers here about potential. What if we have this clone uprising here? And Hemlock's like, "Don't worry, I got this." So did you appreciate that we got more insight what Hemlock is thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hemlock has been, even though he's only been maybe 4 or 5 total episodes in the entire season, I think he's been the strongest character for the whole season. I think the storyline behind Dr. Hemlock, excuse me, is the strongest storyline of this season. So I'm really glad that they actually delved into that and that they didn't just kind of leave you hanging as, he's the big bad guy looking for the Bad Batch.
Yeah, that's for sure here. And Nick, anything catch your interest here from what Hemlock was talking about with his plan?
We don't really know exactly why the Empire wants these clones yet. We know they want clone experiments for future projects, but what do they want to do? Do they want to create Snoke? Do they want to create Snoke-like beings? Do they want to create the body for Palpatine in the future, which we learn about in the hell they call that movie, Rise of Skywalker? We don't know what they're trying to do yet, and it actually seems kind of funny because they're decommissioning all the clones, but they're learning how to clone. It's like we don't want any clones, but we really want clones.
We want a clone.
Yeah. It's funny when you think about it like that, but Not sure exactly what the goal is. I just know that they want to make a clone. Now, what are they doing with that clone? We're not positive yet. My guess is it's going to be that the whole plan all along was that he had another body.
Yeah, that he's gonna basically be Voldemort and Harry Potter. He splits his soul apart into different pieces, and his soul goes into another body if he gets killed in his first one.
Yeah, and the problem with this is the movie came out 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and you are trying to paint the picture that, oh, this is how it always was, kind of thing. When meanwhile, no, it was out of left field. You went, oh yeah, he's still alive, and you're just like, wait, what? And now you're explaining it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so Pete, this show is basically a giant retcon for all the stuff that went wrong in the sequels.
I mean, maybe. I think it's either a retcon or they're trying to explain.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's for sure here. And Nick, anything stick out to you from the sequence prior to them running to Saw Gerrera about what they were doing in the base?
No, but you got to explain the Saw Gerrera thing to me. It's just like he was just there and then he left. I was so confused. Like, he would like. Please explain it to me because I completely missed it. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. I was just like, "That's Saw Gerrera," and then just wasn't there anymore. I was just so confused.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can to explain here. And Pete, you can back me up here. I have this correctly. I mean, Saw Gerrera we last see in the pilot of this show where the where Crosshair the bad guy gets sent to kill him on Onderon. They decide to let him go, and then he shows up here. We just bumble into him in the base when we're trying to get information out of here. He's decided I'm going to blow up the whole summit and kill Tarkin and the leadership, and basically he just does that and gets the hell out of Dodge. That's basically the way I read it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a coincidence that they happened to run into Saw Gerrera, that he was conducting a mission at the same time that the Bad Batch was. And it just kind of like, oh, you're here? Yeah, okay. I guess we're here.
Almost seems like it almost seems like you would do a TV show, a Saw show.
Yeah.
And then you see this episode, it's his point of view. You know how they do that a lot in shows?
Yeah.
And I mean, they don't have a Saw show, so I guess it's not happening. But you know what I mean? They do that a lot in shows where you see someone else's point of view.
Yeah, with the Saw Gerrera episode, we see where see his planning of this thing, and then he runs to the Bad Batch, see him leave.
Right. If there was more time, if this was the mid-season finale, not the season finale, I would expect them to do that in the second half of the season. One of the episodes, maybe the one right after, would be Saw's point of view in that whole thing.
It would have been better to get that instead of like we're going to go the hidden treasure planet.
Hidden treasure planet.
Yeah.
A lot of building of character though. And you know what? Actually, one of the most boring episodes that actually turned out to be really useful was the that racing one.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
That one I did say at the time, like the line did end up paying off in the show.
It was a 25-minute episode, whatever it was, and 10 seconds mattered.
Yeah, plus text character on that episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pete, we do see Saw Gerrera here. I do think it's fun where like he and the team had this debate about like what are you doing? He's like, I'm gonna blow up the whole base. And Tech's like, that's really stupid, bro. Like you killing the leaders, that's gonna put new leaders. They're not really doing anything. We're gonna try and collect information here to follow this doctor and stop what they're doing. He's he's basically, you know what, like I made my mind up. I'm destroying the empire. Like you guys do what you gotta do and leave. I'm not changing my plans.
I mean, it's definitely on brand for Saw Gerrera, right? It's not like they strayed away from his tactics, and he wanted to just blow up the empire, and he figured if he gets some of the top guys, it was going to make a huge dent. But I agree with Hunter. It's just gonna, the same stuff's gonna keep happening over and over again if they don't actually fix the problem.
Yeah, and Nick, this does sort of catalyze the rest of the episode here because Saw doesn't get a chance to plant his bomb on the command deck because then the Bad Batch get caught by the stormtroopers. So he leaves. He decides to blow the thing up. The Bad Batch gets in the cable car to try and escape, and power gets shorted from the explosion. So Saw's explosion basically traps the Bad Batch like on a cable car, like in the middle of the jungle there, while they're trying to get away. So that's the end of the first episode.
That was it. That was the first episode. We were in. The next one picks up right where it left off, which is why make two?
Well,
let's just make it a longer episode.
Because Disney has something against our episodes. They honestly have something against it. I don't understand why.
Or, like we could have, aired this over back-to-back weeks. If you want this to be a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I would prefer, like, this is the finale. It's 50 minutes. There it is. But, nope.
Yeah, so we do find out here that basically they're trying to get out, like, Tarkin is sending more, like, stormtroopers out in cable cars to get them. He sends ships out to get them. And Nick, I did think this is also very fitting for Tarkin, where like one of the lieutenants there, the other guy was monitoring the security cameras that had been disabled by Saw's team. He's like, hey, like our troops are in the middle of this. Like, why aren't you worried to get crossfire? He's like, nope, just get rid of the insurgents.
Yep, very anything for the mission, like, right?
Yep, that's very Tarkin.
That's very Tarkin. That's right.
Yeah, and Pete, we do see here that they have figured out that like Tech needs to go get traverse the structure of the cables and go turn the power back on, and Echo can start the car up. But while this is going on, they get attacked by the spaceships. Tech gets caught there, and it becomes very clear he's not going to get back on the ship. And he says, we're going to go to Plan 99. And Wrecker doesn't want to do it. We found out really quickly that Tech sacrificed himself to ensure the team can get away. So, were you shocked when they actually did this?
While it was happening, I wasn't shocked. I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to happen. But I think leading up to it, I didn't think Tech was going to be in any danger. One gripe about the scene is that he looks at the platform like it's very far away and decides to jump to it to get to the grid, and then he just easily uses his grapple hook to get back. And I'm like, why couldn't you just have done that for the first jump? But anyway, yeah, I didn't expect it. I think this was a huge scene. I think this is probably the biggest meaning a scene had in Bad Batch probably for its 2 seasons.
Yeah, Nick, like, what do you think about this when you actually realize, like, oh shit, they're actually gonna kill him?
I actually thought that somehow, some way, Wrecker was going to die saving him. That's what I was waiting for, to happen. I thought he was gonna jump down and throw Tech back up and then fall to his death, but no, that didn't happen. Tech is presumably dead. I would not hold it past him that he's still alive. And the sacrifice play, I think that only makes the strongest character of this season even stronger.
Yeah, and Pete, Nick brought up a good point here. I mean, we do get a little later in the episode from Hemlock where he says, like, I went to go look for Crosshair. I only found his shattered goggles on the ground. He gives them back to Hunter at one point. And I would, do you think this is comic rules where, because we didn't see the body, he's not really dead? Do you think they actually are going to keep him dead?
I mean, for sure, I think this is comic book rules, but it would be it would cheapen the moment if he comes back soon. I think if you do this, it's going to take away all of the sacrifice that he made. I mean, granted, yes, he still did the right thing to save the team, but it's just like, oh yeah, okay, Tech's back. It's going to cheapen it all. So I think they should just stick with Echo being part of the team, and that's it. And I think he's done.
I think Tech is going to come back, and I think that's one of the reasons that there was no post-credit scene in this, is that the post-credit scene would be him on one of those machines that Crosshair was on towards the end. But because they don't want to spoil it yet, they're doing that. Because if you think about it, you're right. If you look at it in terms of the story, this happened on, let's say, Tuesday. If on Thursday he's laying on the table, that's nothing. But the way we're looking at it as audience is, right now it's March of 2023. The Bad Batch probably isn't going to be back till fall of 24, maybe winter 25.
Yeah, probably that's too late, winter 25, depending on when they actually start this.
So in our minds, then it's for 2 years of our lives, Echo is going to be gone, or excuse me, Tech is going to be gone. So I think that's what their plan is. I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, Pete, the thing that jumped to my mind when it came through is especially when we see the end of the episode, when you see all the clones on the tables getting experimented on by him, are we going to Winter Soldier Tech here and just sort of brainwash him and turn him into some sort of super assassin?
Maybe. I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know if they that route though.
Yeah,
like stretch.
Yeah, Nick, I feel like in terms of the animated series, I mean, is there any character in Star Wars animation that's really stayed dead besides Kanan?
Clone 99, season 3, episode 1 of the Clone Wars, which is probably what has something to do with Plan 99. It has to do with something like that.
Yeah, I think they were the inspiration for the Bad Batch. I think in the minds of the writers.
No, that guy. There was the old guy. He was Clone 99.
Yeah,
and he died. So him.
Yeah,
and that other guy. Who was the one? I hated him so much. We all hated him.
Oh, Zero.
He was mean to the clones.
Oh, poor Krell.
Yes. Oh man, he's dead too.
I guess in terms of main character energy, though, because those guys
maybe Savage Opress.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah.
maybe Asajj Ventress, which is so stupid that the way that she would be so perfect for this show, or for even for Mandalorian, she'd be perfect. I don't know why they killed that character off.
Yeah, that was before they had plans to do anything beyond the Clone Wars also. So they said, yeah, we'll just wrap characters in a bow.
Yep. Would have been really nice to see more of that character, even in any show. In any show.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the thing that makes Kanan's death work in Rebels is the fact that like it's a meaningful sacrifice. He stays dead. It's not some magic on the Force that he has to like turn back alive at the end of the series. So,
well, maybe in Ahsoka.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting.
I hope not.
All I'll say is like if we like find out later on that Tech is Winter Soldier and we're gonna unbrainwash he's back on the team in like the middle of season 3, I'll be very disappointed.
Well, think about this. Usually, the guy you brainwash. Now, Bucky was a little different in Marvel, but usually the guy you brainwash is Wrecker. You brainwash the guy who's a madman, and then you turn him on your side. It'd be really interesting to see someone brainwash Tech, because then he's using his brains, but he's also brainwashed. It'd be kind of cool, to be honest with you. You don't really see that often. You usually see the muscle, not the brains.
Yeah, Pete, would you be bothered with any of that choice?
No, I think it would be kind of like a breath of fresh air, right? I think, like Nick was saying, Wrecker is usually the type of character that would succumb to this because of the weak mind, you know. So if they can do it with someone like Tech, who is very, very smart and was pretty much cloned to be the smart technological guy, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and also Nick, we can move on from this for a little bit here. I mean, in terms of like, what do you think of the stylistic choice we made here? That we follow Omega's perspective, where she basically gets knocked out from the escape here, and then we see flashes of like them escaping with like her like sort of like going in and out of consciousness. Do you think that was a cool look?
I'm sorry, repeat that, please. You cut out for a sec.
Let's talk about the sequence where like we're following Omega's POV. She's like slipping in and out of consciousness, and the team's getting away on the ship. We don't really see the whole sequence here. Did you like that choice?
Oh, when she's with the guy, the droid.
No, like before that, like when gets knocked down the cable car, they're trying to escape.
Oh! I did. I liked that, and then she kind of like woke up, and she was kind of like
confused,
forgot about I keep saying Echo Tech for a second, and she kind of got on my nerves how much she cared. I get it. I don't know. The show doesn't play it off enough that these people actually care about each other. So when she gets all like upset about it, I'm just like, I don't buy it. Maybe I just hate her as a character, but.
Don't forget, Nick, she and Tech had that meaningful conversation in the mine a few weeks ago.
They did.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite part was the character development in the entire show, and it did pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pete, I'm sure you're thrilled about this. We find out that they went back to Sid's to get help because the droid AZ3 is there. He's treating them. And then, shocker, Sid turns them into the Empire.
So before I found out she turned him into the Empire, I was so fucking mad that Sid was there helping them, and I was like, God damn it, we're doing this again. I can't do this. We don't ruin this really, really good finale. And then at least they stayed true to what we thought of Sid, and that was just a backstabbing, just no good person, or whatever the species is that Sid is. Thank God that's the way they went. They didn't just go like, oh, Sid will take care of you, don't worry, and all that crap.
Yeah, Nick, I feel like we called this last week. We called this shot that she was going to turn me in here, but like, did the team lose points for going back to Sid at this moment?
Yeah, they did. I was surprised that they did. They seemed like they were a couple episodes ago, like done, never going back, and they went back. I was like, it took me a while. I'm like, where are they? And I go, why is Sid there? Wait, they went back. So yeah, they lose a lot of points for that. That blows my mind. And very obviously, she turned on them and eventually cost them. Well, definitely cost them based on how it ends.
I mean, I guess story the media thinking, oh, we need to get the medical droid. He could treat all of us, but like, Pete, they don't have a doctor on Pabu.
I guess not, which seems weird to me.
Well, if you want to go live there and they don't have a doctor, then you're making the wrong decision right away. Yeah, right? He even said to Omega, like, I'm thinking about going there. It seems like a good place, but they don't have a doctor, so they better, then I wouldn't go live there.
I don't know. Like, that seems like an odd choice. If there's a doctor on Pabu, the answer's go to Pabu. You don't go back to Sid. Especially after you stiffed her that many times.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we see this happening here, that the Empire storms in. They capture Wrecker. Hunter tells Omega, go run away. Like we can't let them catch you. He gets basically captured as well. And then Nick, your favorite character Omega decides like I'm gonna free a team by myself, and then gets herself captured.
The standoff with Hemlock and Hunter was very good.
I love that.
I think the tensions were at an all-time high in this show because we already saw Tech die. So at this point, I'm saying, or quote, if you can't see me on the video version, if you're listening, I'm putting my fingers up for the quotes. Die. We don't know yet, but this was the most edge of the scene I've ever been because we already saw, as I just said, we saw Tech die. I'm thinking, who's gonna go next? Would you be shocked if Hemlock just killed Hunter there? I wouldn't. Would you be shocked if he'd gone and shot Wrecker? Would you be shocked if Omega showed up, killed Hemlock, and then all the troopers were running after that? I wouldn't be shocked. All of it. The only person I'd be shocked about if they killed Omega at that point. But I was like sitting there thinking anything can happen right now. This is prime time, edge of your seat television right here because you really don't know. Similar to like what happens in. When we watch, for example, Clone Wars, we know Anakin's not dying. Even when we were for watching it for the first time, we knew. We were positive. So like when he's fighting against Dooku, or actually he didn't, but whatever. Like when he, what I'm saying, when he has a lightsaber battle, he's not going to die. And in this, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, like I literally do not know because none of these characters show up again.
Yeah.
Or not again, but you know what I mean, like in the future.
Yeah, they're not in any established material.
There's very few of them. Saw. Rex.
Tarkin.
Very few. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pete, like in terms of the Omega thing here, did it bother you that she decided I'm not gonna go find Echo, I'm gonna go just take care of this by myself?
Yeah, I mean, she bothers me in general. I can understand her character doing it, but like, come on, like. Obviously, Hunter knows what he's talking about, and you're just being a stubborn kid. And I understand she wants to help, but it's just like yet again, she gets into these situations where she feels like she can handle everything and she can't. And then, it kind of screws her over now, and she never gets the hint. This has happened many a times before in this season and last season. So I don't think she ever learned.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, we do get the moment her being capable in the first episode where she plants the tracker and does it successfully. And then maybe she got her high on her horse, like, oh, like I'll take my bow and arrow and kill 17 stormtroopers to get these guys out.
Maybe they're thinking that us as audience are going to think season 1 she couldn't get anything right. Season 2 she gets some things right. Season 3 she'll get more things right. Maybe.
Yeah.
If she's in season, no, she'll definitely end it. But if they get her back,
yeah, if they get her back here, and we do see that like at the end of the episode, we see that like Tech does free Wrecker and Echo, Wrecker and Hunter, and then they are sort of like running away. They lose Sid, they lose Omega, and they say, we're gonna have to do whatever we can to get her back here. We ended up back on the cloning planet, like a clone facility on Mantis, I think that's the name of the facility. And I did think it was great to see like Hemlock, right? The Hemlock's Nala say thing, the conversation Pete turns is like, well, like Hemlock's like, have you reconsidered my project? I brought Omega here, and she's like, what you want to do is impossible. He's like, you're going to find a way to do it, or like she's suffering the consequences, not you. So I think, again, we call that correctly. This is leverage for Nalase.
Yeah, and I think he may think that Omega is also the key to getting it done. If it's impossible, maybe there's something about that particular clone. But yeah, no, we were right. It was definitely for leverage. At least that's how Hemlock is alluding to.
And now, Mike, you got to talk about this big reveal at the end because I have a lot of questions on it.
The spoiler, besides Tech dying.
Yeah.
We can get to the spoiler here because we see that Omega gets brought to the room where all the clones being experimented on. She sees Crosshair on the table, tries to get him free. That scientist he's following around, the female scientist, is sort of like, like why are you wanting to talk to him and not to me? She's like he's my brother. It's like, but I'm your sister. And you're like, that's really where the end of the season Omega. It's like dumbfounded that there's like another female clone out there. So this one did take me by surprise.
So it took me by surprise for the main reason is we've seen what's happening all season. It's all about clone rights and the decommission of the clones and end of the stormtrooper. And I would imagine a lot of times you see those guys who sit at the computers, right? And the Empire, I don't know what they do on the Star Destroyers and the Death Star. They're probably not doing anything. They're just sitting there typing.
Yeah.
Those guys were also clones. They're now people. So like everyone in the Empire, all clones have been decommissioned. But this one has a job. Is she a spy of sorts?
I don't know. I feel like she's a sympathizer, Pete, where I feel like where she sort of like has not abandoned the cause yet.
Yeah,
I don't know. Could be either. That's what I'm thinking. At first, I think she has to abandon the cause. Then I'm sitting here thinking, maybe she's a spy.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's a spy or she was a clone that was working for the Empire that wasn't like a trooper because she's older than Omega. So she's obviously been involved a lot longer than the destruction of Camino. So I think maybe that's why she just stuck on because she was an asset. I don't know.
Certainly,
But why tell Omega
maybe
that
attempt to.
she's also a clone if
Maybe to
she
get her to
doesn't plan to
cooperate.
help her?
Maybe to get her to cooperate because she
Maybe.
get Crosshair to cooperate.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, it might be just a way to try and gain trust with Omega, saying like, "Hey, look, like I'm a clone. I'm looking out. Like I make sure, like, if they just do what we want them to, they're not gonna get hurt. So it's sort of like I'm doing what I want to, and I'm just fine."
By the way, you heard Crosshair's voice when Tech died, right?
I did not hear that.
There was a message to him, like him saying something in his voice that Tech heard right when he died. You have to go back and listen to that because that definitely happened.
A pretty cool shout. But I think that's a good place to leave the episode here. I do think a lot of great stuff here. I just wish we had more time to marinate some of these plot points instead of shoving them all in 25 minutes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Let's go ahead now. Let's get to our trackers here. For the last time this season, we're going to update the Bad Batch trackers here. So, Nick, Hondo not show up in this episode or this season, 18 Hondos. And I do think that this would not have been, like, can you imagine, like, the turn we would take if Hondo walks in this episode?
That would have been strange. It would have been very strange. Glad we did not see Hondo today, but we will see him soon.
Yep, we'll see him soon here. And Pete, 2 more live action cameos to wrap up the season. We got Tarkin again, and we got Krennic in 15. So 13 live action cameos in 16 episodes.
You wouldn't count Saw Gerrera?
He's not live action. He's animated first.
Oh, you go by what's first.
Yeah, he appears in Clone Wars first.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, definitely great additions to the tracker then.
Absolutely here. So Nick, we had one more planet here every hour, so we not hit the live bet, just 15 planets in the season.
Oh, the live bet was 15 and a half.
Yep, we just under.
This is why we're the odds makers. This is you ever notice that when you're watching a football game, the team is down 3 and the spread is like +2, and you're like, well, if they get a touchdown here, they cover. If they don't cover. And it's like it always comes down to that the last 2 minutes. That's because they know. We know.
It's a great live bet.
Yeah.
All right, next up here, Pete. We should be done with Sid, which means we should be done with Sid missions. So 6 total for this season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping we never see Sid ever again. Ever.
I think we'll see her again, unfortunately.
I really hope not.
Yeah, I'm upset that she got away without dying.
Absolutely here. And last but not least here, named clones here. I guess we have to include this new clone character that we learned about here. So I got to retroactively add her into scene. So I guess 16.
What was her name?
I don't know. I got to look it up.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to say 16 for now. I'll figure it out. I'll leave it as 15. I'll let you know in the feedback show how many time she actually shows up in the season.
Right.
All right, so that's it for the trackers here. Next up, we're going to do our MVP, LVP board. This is where we stand through 14 episodes of The Bad Batch, and here's where we are at right now on the season here. RIP Tech on top of the board, +5. Cody and Dr. Hemlock at +3. Cody in second place, Nick, after being in one episode all season, tells you the range of the season.
Wow. That's all I can say.
And we have Gungi, Palpatine, and Benny the Thief at +2. +1s, Crosshair, Echo, Romar, Mayday, Hunter, V Genoa, and Nick. We ended in the positive.
We did. Wow.
Yes. Unless somebody here's giving us negative points today, we're in the positive.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Senator Chuchi, the only 0 right now. -1s, Wrecker, Governor Groton, Tawny Ames, Disney, Venomore, and Mako. -2, Omega and the Empire. -3s, Lieutenant Nolan and Vice Admiral Rampart. And down at the bottom, Sid, -9, bring up the rear here. So this is such a jam-packed episode here. I think we should give out 2 each for MVP and LVP. So, Pete, you want to give us your 2 MVPs?
Sure. Can they be from both the same episode?
Sure.
All right. So one of my MVPs is Tech. And then my other MVP is Hemlock. I think the way he I mean, my favorite scene, Nick described it, was the kind of face off between Hemlock and Hunter, and I just thought that was amazing. And I think Hemlock is a fantastic character. Um, I don't think I've seen such a complex animated villain as good as Hemlock since Thrawn. So, fantastic work by both characters. So Tech and Hemlock.
Nick, your MVPs.
Same. No, same reasons. He sacrificed himself for the team, and Hemlock is a fantastic villain. Simple as that. The only issue I have with Hemlock is, and it's no one's fault. It's just time's fault. Let's say he doesn't die in this show. That's just a 50-50, right? I can't see like his character existing when A New Hope happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he should be dead somewhere.
Not like that. I just mean like his hairstyle, the way he talks, and New Hope came out in the 70s. Like, it's just how it is. I can't see him existing in that time.
Yeah, that's fair.
But whatever. I mean, that's no one's fault.
Making a clean sweep on Tech and Hemlock, as you say here, I mean, like, is any character he's been more successful than Dr. Hemlock in his limited appearances?
Yeah, Tech.
Yeah. I mean, Hemlock has in terms of like points per episode, he's very high.
Yeah, he is, because he's a fantastic villain. And it's great to establish a villain in a show. And if Boba Fett did that, it could be a little different show.
Ashley, let's go the other way here. Nick, who are your 2 LEPs for the week?
I'm going to give it to Sid. And I think you know.
Omega.
Yeah. Sid, because, actually, to be honest with you, I should have gave it to, the Bad Batch for going back to Sid. But just Sid in general, just because she sucks. Honestly, she didn't really do anything specific in this episode. If anything, she had a strong episode because she won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah. But Omega, come on. Let's, with the bow and arrow against 17 stormtroopers and Hemlock and with 2 of your guys being held hostage. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm also going to ding Omega here. I'm going to give one also to Saw Gerrera for being a moron. I feel like his plans have a lot more collateral damage. They actually end up being successful. I'm giving Saw and Omega and LVPs here. So, Pete, how you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, Sid and Omega, for the same exact kind of reasons as Nick. Sid needs to go. I'm tired of Sid. Omega, I'm really tired of just her thinking she could do everything, but she can't really do much.
Yep. So that's it for this board here. We'll go for the full thing in the postseason episode here we're going to do. But Sid, far away the LP, -11. Wow. Those points.
Don't tell me the rest of the list. I would love to see where Omega. I don't know where Omega and I don't remember what you showed. I can't wait to see that when we do the full season review.
Well, she took 3 points today, in the negative direction.
And she was already kind of low, I'd imagine. So, and then let's see where Tech ended up too, because I know he was in the top. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Next up, you're going to grade the episode scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worse than 1978 Holiday Special. 10 is out there the Prison Break episode of Andor in terms of the best Star Wars live action content. So I'm going to start here. Chapter 15. I'm going to give this one a solid 7. I feel like it good setup work here. A little bit of wasted energy, but I did like what we got here. Saw Gerrera's appearance was a lot of fun here. So, Pete, what was your grade for Chapter 15?
I'm giving it an 8 because I think the setup was perfect, and I honestly they run together the 2 episodes. I don't really consider it a standalone episode. I think compared to what we've gotten in Bad Batch, I think this was one of the best ones so far. So it gets me.
Nick.
I'm very, very different on these than you guys here. I'm giving this a 4. I wasn't interested at all. I was contemplating, questioning, am I watching the right episode through most of it? And I honestly, with Chapter 15, I felt like it was a completely different episode than what we got next.
All right, next up here, Chapter 16, Plan 99 here. Pete, you're first on the grade for that one.
That's a 9 for me. Though it was fantastic. I don't think it was the greatest thing I've seen Star Wars, but it was really, really good.
Nick,
for me, this is a 10. So, for me, it was a tale of 2 halves. I didn't like the first part. I was like, you had texted me before I watched it, this is so good, and I'm like, what the hell's he talking about? And then I watched part 2, and I was like, that's what he's talking about.
Yep, I'm right there with this. This is a 10 in terms of Bad Batch. I do tend to curve up a little bit here, and this is by far the best Bad Batch episode since the pilot in terms of getting us engaged, having a lot of fun storylines here. So 2 10s and a 9 here. So they ended on a very strong note.
If I had to read this together as one finale, I'd probably give it either an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, well, they did technically batch as 2 separate episodes, just aired at the same date. So
Right. If I only watched chapter 15 today, I would have told you it was a 4.
okay,
Which
so
is the way I tried to grade that.
that's it for us on the Bad Batch for now. We'll be back in a few weeks here because we could do the thing next week, the season review. But Nick, considering they have a panel at Celebration here and there's still a lot of Mando stuff going on here, let's wait, let some stuff settle down. I feel like they're probably gonna announce season 3 of Celebration.
Yeah, let's do some Mando stuff.
Yeah. I think we should wait and let this digest a little because I feel like we're gonna have like very like hot takes. I want to see like if they cool down a little bit after this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Also here, we'll be back next week for The Mandalorian Chapter 22. And Pete, we're heading in a very fun direction now. I think today set us finally like settle some of our concerns we had last week.
Oh yeah, I think this was a really, really good episode to sum everything up that we watched.
Absolutely. That's going to end the Bad Batch podcast. So you want to thank you guys for coming on here. Pete, you want to follow on social media? I'm going to do that.
At PJ Consadori 29 on Twitter.
Nick, one more time the social. Like people follow the Sky Guys.
At Sky Guys Podcast. That's both on Instagram and on Twitter.
You can also follow me on Twitter, mphillips331. That's MPHILIPS331. This week over on the Jess and the Suffering podcast. We continue our March Madness with Troy Moriel, the Seeing Red podcast. And Nick, your brother Phil Crowder came on. We did our baseball over-unders.
Oh, just tell me, did he take over on the Giants again?
He did not.
Then I think I know one pick. If I get it right, you got to tell me.
Yeah.
Did he take over on the Chicago White Sox?
No.
Under?
Did not touch it.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me then.
I will not tell you anything. That episode, that's in the podcast feed over there. If you want to check that out, then we'll be back with some Bad Batch season wrap up in the near future. But until then, may the force be with you.